Hello, thank you for tuning in. My name is Larry Duncan-Allen, and you're in tune to No More Water, Fire next time. Tonight, I have quite a few topics to talk about. One is how we're being canceled out. The occupant of the White House, he's taking over the humanities. Martin Luther King Day, anything that has to do with black people is being wiped out. But we don't need them to validate us. We can still celebrate King's Day. We still celebrate ourselves, just as the Asians and others do. They don't have theirs as a national holiday, but they still celebrate it. But we have to, we love getting validated. Cinco de Mayo, one of the biggest, have a big celebration all over the nation, but it's not government sanctioned as a holiday. But yet they still celebrate, except this year, they said it was mostly black people out there because celebrating Cinco de Mayo because the Latinos are afraid to come out. They think ICE is going to be out there waiting for them. But then again, black people, we celebrated others' holiday more than we did our own. Black people really came out for Cinco de Mayo, but yet you could barely get any to come out for Juneteenth, Kwanzaa, any black holidays. We need to be ashamed of ourselves, really, because no one else is going to do that for us. How many Latinos do you see at Juneteenth? Well, I can also ask that. How many black people do you see? So, but look, we don't have to worry about other people celebrating us. We can celebrate ourselves. When I was living in Los Angeles. The Asians. They would have Asian Day, in little Tokyo, and have it in a Chinatown, and they celebrated themselves. They wouldn't worry about someone else celebrating them. They celebrated themselves. But now Trump, he's taking over the Kennedy Center. He's taking over the arts and humanities, and that's what you do when you're trying to form a dictatorship. And it's not going to just affect us. See, one good thing, I wouldn't say good, but one thing I see about this is that people are used to things being done just to hurt us, but this is going to hurt everyone. And that's why we don't have to be at the forefront fighting this. We can, as a matter of fact, it may hurt them more than us on some things. On some things now, but mostly us, because anytime somebody else hurt, we're dying. When others hurt, we're dying. Because, but what I mean, let me explain it. What I mean by that, whatever happened to them is even worse for us. I'm not saying we're literally dying. It's even worse for us. I'm glad you tuned in because, in a way, we have to learn that we have to quit trying to get government validation for everything that we do because just as they give it to us, they can take it back. Same thing happened with women with abortion. They wanted the government to sponsor abortions and pay for it, and they took it back when they got ready. I can understand making it legal, women wanting it legal, but when you had the government paying for it, and you're going to tell them, you can't tell us what to do. Oh, yes, they can. And they did. You can't take other folks' money. Then tell them they can't tell you tell us what to do. It don't work that way. See, these men telling women what to do with their body, no, they were telling you what to do with that fetus. Because you do everything else with your body, but what they was doing, I'm not really trying to get off into abortion though, but if they take your money, they can tell you what to do. We just can't have men voting on men issues, women voting on women issues, blacks voting on black issues, immigrants voting on immigrants issue. That's not the way it works. The people who are there vote, no matter what their gender or race is. But getting back on topic, they've see we ought to be used to people not recognizing us. they never have before. Back during during Jim Crow, they walked by black people like black people were invisible. So we should be used to it, but now maybe we'll learn. We don't have to try to assimilate like everyone else. Yeah, we can deal with other people, but we can still be ourselves. Just as we have our own culture, and we need to stop letting people make us ashamed of it. Like when they called Jasmine Crockett, they called her um, ghetto. Let me tell you, she's she she speaks in a black dialect, and she's a black woman, and she speaks like a black woman. Because others have their dialects, they speak in their way. They come here speaking broken English. You can't understand what they're saying. But yet, when it comes to black people, there's something wrong with the way we speak. We're speaking in our dialect. And that's what we're going to do, if you like it or not. We have our ways of doing things, just as others have their way of doing things. And we need to stop letting people make us be ashamed of everything we do. And stop judging us by the worst of us, because we do that. We judge us by the worst of us. Because our culture was formed over time. And it's good if you stop looking at the worst people. Well, I wouldn't say, let me take that trip, wheel that back. I wouldn't call it a culture. I'll say ways, because, well, partial culture, because culture is supposed to define the way that you live your lives, not just music and the way you dress. It's supposed to form ethics and morals and your way of operating. We don't have that. We don't have that. And that's what we need to get. See, while there's more marriage among other people, like the Latinos, they have a culture. It's in their culture. Their culture is marriage around family. Ours is not. Ours is around single people. And the government helped us because, see, single people spend more money. They want us to be single. They really want everyone to be that way because single people spend more money on frivolous things. Married people buy homes. And the married women don't spend as much on their hair, on clothes as a single woman. Because they figure she'll buy the kids' clothes anyway because you got kids anyway. I'm going to take a quick break and I'll be right back.
What's good, everybody? My name is Brandon Hunter, also known as OG Brando, and I am the founder formulator for the Origin of Greatness. In front of me, I have my products, the OG Hair Sheen, which is all-around great moisturizer, and then I have my hemp seed butter, which is all-around great moisturizer for the skin as well. If you have any questions about either of my products, please, you can find me at the Origin of Greatness on Instagram, the OG LLC on Facebook, and at our website at theog.net. And also be on the lookout for the OG in collab in connection with Tierra Speaks. You might just catch us, with some, we got a little collab going on. She got her thing with her self-care box, and so we got some things coming. But greatness is definitely on the way. Onward and upward.
Hi, we're here today to promote the Juneteenth Art Contest. This year we have two categories. We have the youngest, the 12th through 5th grade, the K through 5th grade. We want all the artists to submit their original art piece, whether it be sculptures, abstract, watercolor, however you want to submit it. It has to be an original art piece. And the first place prize is $186.50. We also have the second category, which would be 6th through 12th grade. Again, we want original art pieces. Submit them by June 18th. Please get your submissions in.
Okay, I'm back. take a quick break and turn something on. But look, as I was saying, even if the part I'm really concerned about is the Bill of Rights, voting rights, those things being turned back because if they choose not to let us vote, we may not be able to. Right now, we're living at their mercy. Well, we always have been, but at least we had the law to back us up. We don't even have the law anymore. We used to have laws to prevent a lot of things from happening. But now the court system isn't working in our favor anymore. We don't even have the laws on the books anymore. And many people are getting very emboldened against us. And we may have to deal with it. Well, we're going to have to deal with it if they get very emboldened. One woman was to show you what I'm talking about. There was one woman in the park. She was cursing out a little black boy, calling him the N word and cursing people out. And the little boy parents, I never saw them, but there was a white guy who was stopping her, who used to be a policeman, and he filmed it. She put up a GoFundMe and she's raised almost $1 million for her for calling the little black boy the N word. She's been given $1 million and rising. Well, it was close to $1 million, but I'm sure it's over that by now. I don't know why I got a little bug in my throat. It started after I started talking. But look, she's raised, I'm sure it's over $1 million now. And yet they complain about the black boy who stabbed to death a white boy, and they was just angry because he got out on bail. Which I doubt he will get away with crime because from what I read, it was a murder. He killed him. More like manslaughter. But I'm looking this up right now to see if he was convicted because I know his trial was taking place. And I'm going to see if he was convicted. I thought I saw some. Let me see. What was his name? I checked here his name. Oh yeah. Metcalf. Only one that died was Austin Metcalf. The one that they killed him. Fine Lord. He raised $250,000 for his defense. But if George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin, yet they raised money for him, why come this kid couldn't have money raised for him? But I'm trying to see if he was charged, if he was convicted. I thought I saw somewhere. Should have looked this up earlier. Right, I didn't know that I was going to speak on it. But yeah, we're not supposed to look out for ours, but everyone else can look out for theirs, even if they think theirs is guilty. Let me type that in. Yeah, because let me see. No, it's not the one. But still, I'll see it later. But there have been many people who have committed crimes against us, and yet money was raised for them. As soon as we raised some money for one of ours, then we're supposed to be doing something wrong, but we don't need someone else to tell us what to do for ours. We don't tell them what to do for theirs because they do it anyway. I had a little bug in my throat for the past couple of days. But still, we have to just do what we're going to do and don't worry about what others tell us to do. Because they don't care what we say. Why should we care what they say? We can look out for a black kid just like they can look out for theirs. I'm not saying the kid was innocent. Because to be honest with you, from what I read, he's not innocent. Still, money was raised for his defense. He deserved a defense just as anyone else does. Because what do you think would happen if the white kid had stabbed the black kid to death? White people would be raising money for him. Not because they felt he was innocent, but because he was white. Why we can't do something for a black boy because he's black? I don't want to see anyone get away with murder. But, well, I'll be honest with you, they be wanting to see theirs get away with it, though. But he deserves defense just like anyone else can, just like anyone else does, and no, that's just the way it is. You don't like it, it's just too bad. But we can take care of ours just like anyone else can take care of theirs. So they're used to crying out and then have us go against our own, like people like Candace Owens and Lee Elder does. They use people like Candace Owens to point out some discrepancies about black people. Where I don't know if they use it, she just do it herself. Every little thing that black people are not doing right. As if black people are not perfect, then we deserve everything that comes our way. People can do anything they want to do to us because we're not perfect. If we don't do everything the right way, cross every T, dot every I, then we deserve everything that happens to us. Because I'll tell you why. Other people know that their people do wrong things, but they don't go against them like we do ours. Their people do all type of things, and especially when they do it to us, they back them. When white people are called out about something that they do, they never defend themselves. They don't even try to explain themselves. They double down. But you know what happens? Some black person come along and plead their case for them. They never have to. So we have to start looking out for ourselves now. The one thing this has shown is we can't really expect anyone to do it else to do it anymore. And I kind of like the way we're kind of just sitting back. But we can't just sit back and do nothing. We have to strategize. What are we going to do? In case these people start running up in our neighborhoods. Do the same thing to them that you would do if a black person was running up in your neighborhood. And the thing about it, I believe some of these MAGA folks, because we don't have a Republican Party anymore, we got MAGA. They're going to run up in some white neighborhoods. Because have you noticed that the people in MAGA view, as they call it, right and left. Black folks, we don't worry about that. They call it the right and left. The MAGA people view the white people on the right the same as they do black people almost. They're fighting, killing each other. So so I'm telling the white people, you all better watch out too. They may run up in your neighborhoods also. And you're gonna have to defend yourselves. And if we gotta fight together, we fight together because we can't. Because that's what it's coming to. It's coming to that. And the thing about it, See, a lot of people kind of hate me saying this, but it's coming to that. And you're going to see, I think this is one time you're going to see blacks and whites fighting together for a common cause. We are now, really. But we cannot let people physically harm us. I'm talking about the black and the white people who MAGA come after. We can't let people physically harm us. We have to defend ourselves. Now, another topic I wanted to talk about is community development in impoverished areas. I read a lot where people are talking about, uh, revitalizing impoverished areas like East St. Louis and other places. But the plans that I hear that they have might revitalize a building, build a park, something like that. But it's not going to revitalize the city, going by the things they're talking about. See, in order to revitalize, you have to do areas at a time, not just one building. And you can't always use government funding, because that's what we mostly use, because some projects with government funding can't be taxed. And we need development that's going to add to the tax rolls and try to get some people back in town, because we're losing so many people. And no one's going to invest in a town that's losing all of its residents. Not in the private development. And now, with what we have in office now, they're stopping all the government development. We can't get these grants we used to get. So that's out. So I don't know what we're going to do now. So how can it be revitalized if you're used to getting government funding, and that's out now? And for one thing, you cannot revitalize an area just building senior and low-income housing. You have to have some businesses. I'd rather spend $40 million on economic development. Then we could bring in all that, because why keep building houses when you're losing all of your people? Let's take some of that money and do some economic development, business development, and not just one little spend millions of dollars on one place. Let's take that money and spread it around and build an area. And we need to attract people more than just low income people. Either we have to have some gated communities. Any way we got to do it, we need to do it. Because if you don't, and I'm going to tell you, history is against us, though. I'm not talking about just East St. Louis, but just about all impoverished areas. History is against us. No black area has really ever, that went down, has really ever been revitalized. Or a black city. And I know when people say, I don't know, I'm talking negative, doom and gloom, but negativity is a part of life. And you don't sit there and talk, well, should I lie and talk positive? I'd rather talk a true negative than a false positive. History is against us on this. There have been areas that was black, that was revitalized, but black people are no longer there. The only way those areas get revitalized is they have to have a change in demographics. You want to say color, different the color of those people's skin. But then stop and look at it. When private developers come in, they know that they can't make it develop with the people that they have there. So they'll say, well, we're going to move you to another area while we develop. You're not coming back. Remember the Lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans when during here, maybe I should have waited and did this another night. During Hurricane Katrina, and they said They're gonna put them out of the lower ninth ward, and they don't want to go. But that's the only way it's gonna be rebuilt. Who's gonna rebuild a slum and put those same people back in there who made it a slum themselves? I know it's not their fault that it's a slum because of redlining and all, they can't get the loans that it takes to rebuild, and many times can't even get loans to repair their houses. So it's not the people's fault, but the fact is it's still a slum, and no one's going to rebuild a slum and put you back in there because you're still not going to be able to get the loans. So why give you a nice house? You're not going to be able to get the loans to get the house, and they're not going to rebuild a project for you. So yes, and usually they'll put the people left, and usually we're in nicer areas, really. Take Harlem in New York. Harlem used to be the black side, the black town, well known as the black area of New York. Harlem was revitalized. It's no longer black. In fact, Bill and Hillary Clinton, that's where their office is at in Harlem. Harlem is an upscale area now. They're not going to revitalize the area and let the same people stay there. And if they come to any black city and revitalize that city, you can best believe the people there are getting out of there. They're going to make sure of that. But we can keep our hopes and dreams alive, but that's all it is, a hope and a dream. I hate to sound so gloomy, but that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. They're not going to rebuild a black town, the people with money, and the government is going to do one little project at a time. That's not how you revitalize. You have to have a plan for areas to revitalize, not just one building. And the government is not putting out any money anymore. Private developers are not going to come in without moving the people out. So you're at a bit of an impasse there. And I know people may not like what I'm saying, but you don't have to like it. But that's the way it is. And we can't keep feeding people these false hopes that it's going to get better when you're losing all your people. Try to find ways to build up businesses and homes around businesses. And then you can try to attract some people with children so we can't hardly fill up our schools anymore. At one time, East St. Louis going back to East St. Louis, had 5 middle schools, but at that time they were called junior high school. Now we're down to 2 and can't fill those up. As a matter of fact, Lincoln was going to be closed about 5 years ago. Lincoln was going to get closed about 5 years ago. But as you know, Lincoln has a strong alumni, and they didn't want East St. Louis not to have a school with the name Lincoln on it. So what they did, now I was at the board meeting, now I even recorded it. So what they did was they decided to put the 5th graders in the middle schools. That's how the 5th graders got in the middle schools. It was 6, 7, and 8. But they had to put the 5th graders in the middle schools in order to keep Lincoln over. And I don't know how long that's going to last. One good thing I saw is that when I went to do on a book fair at the schools, there's a lot of first graders. So that was a good sign. And one thing we have to do is try to attract more families to town. That's how you build schools and build a community. One of the worst things I see is people sitting around talking about building a community and all, rebuilding the community and helping the community, and you can't even build a family. That's the first thing we have to do, build families. We don't have families anymore. We just have baby mamas and daddies, and That's a terrible culture because we can't build with that. You see what the Latinos do? They come in a black area with nothing. Before you know it, they've taken over the black areas because they got families. They have families. In Los Angeles, they just about taken over South Central, the Watts area. Most of that's Latino now. They driven all the black people out to Hawthorne, Torrance, Inglewood. Those are better areas though. But but the point is, if you don't have strong families, you get overran, and that's what's happening to black people. And if the Latinos start coming to East St. Louis, they'll take this over. They will. They'll take it over. And many people who are talking this development, they know what's going to happen. That's why they're always talking about the white people want to come back. What do you know white people left and then came back to? They move out. The only way they'll come back is if there's a big development. And the reason they keep saying the white people coming back is they know we're not doing anything with it. When you have something and you're not doing what you should with it, well, I can't say should because I think the city leaders are doing what they can with what they got to work with. But when you can't maintain it, I can't say not doing what you should. I won't say that. I say when you don't have what you need to work with to do what you need to do, of course someone else is going to come take it over. And you can't fault them for that. But I don't, like I said, I don't fault the city leaders because they using what they got to work with. And when they had build these big projects, a lot of times that's what they can get funding for, you know. And you really take something than nothing. At least have something to point at. But I hope we defy history though. I hope we start defying history and get black people to come back into our own areas like everyone else does. How can we shop with our own when most of us have moved out of our own areas? Now you take like over in St. Louis County, the black people over there, they have businesses and stores and they have Schnucks and Walmart over there and right off 270 because they shop in their area. But here in East St. Louis, we won't even shop in our area, even though we may have the same store that they have somewhere else. We love going out of the area to shop. But that is one of the big difference that the other black areas have over East St. Louis. They will shop in their areas. We won't shop in ours. We rather go to Fairview Heights, St. Louis, O'Fallon, even if we have the same store here. So we have to learn and try to do more with ourselves because we can build all we want to build. If our people won't shop here with their own, because we'll shop, but it has to be with someone of another race. For some reason in East St. Louis, we don't like shopping with our own. We say open businesses, but then when we open it, you won't patronize it. You'll go a block away to go shop with one of the Arabs or Koreans. You go a block away, walk right past the black person's store. The few who has a store. There's some black foreigners who I don't know if they're foreigners or not, but they have accent speaking. They opened a store across the street from me. It used to be Arab. First some black people had it, then they sold to some Arabs, and it stayed busy. When the black people took over the business, went down, even though they had the same products, I think at a cheaper price than it used to be. The same price, it's not more, but they I see businesses picking up now since Trump been in office. He's kind of it's kind of making black people rethink, I guess. I hope so. 'Cause I see he's getting more business than he used to. His lot used to be empty. Now it stays full more. And when he first opened up, there was one black woman came there and I saw her twice cursing him out. Talking about she like when the Arabs was here. She just said what many feel. But hopefully one thing can come out of this, it may draw us closer together. And so that's to actually start caring about each other because we really don't like each other right now. And basically, we don't really like each other. That's why other folks don't like us. We don't even like each other. Or maybe it's taught us to get some type of bond between us because other folks gonna stop messing with us. The ones who meant what's right, most will. Now that's some who gonna be affected by this themselves. They are, and they know what's going on. That's why they tried to stop the woke initiative. Who you never heard other. You always heard black people talking about woke. You never heard other people talking about woke. That was something new. Like I said before, that came after George Floyd and many other cultures started siding with us, and they haven't left us, and they may be even closer to us now. But only one thing I didn't like about the movements that they have, the marches that they have, they when they interview the people, they name all the people who are being disenfranchised. They'll name women, they'll name the trans folks, the homosexuals, the LGBTQ, they'll name the people of color, but they never mention black people. But with black people, we want to mention everybody. I haven't heard any of those people being interviewed at those marches mentioning black people yet. If you have, let me know, because I sure haven't heard any. But every time the black people talk, they're mentioning everyone. And let's face it, MAGA has you worried about trans and people. How many trans people there are? How many trans people you've met? They're talking about trans people in sports. They say out of over 500,000 college athletes, there's only 10 known trans people. But they act like it's such a big deal. Those are small issues they put in to take you off the larger issues. And if you want to be trans, that's something you did to yourself, Nothing nobody can do about that. And I'm not worried about it because you did that. Yeah. That's all I can say. You decided to do that to yourself. So you have to deal with it. Now, but they are not going after the big issues. No, we're not bringing up the big issues. They use small issues like that to keep your mind off the big issues. They've taken away voting rights, Bill of Rights, civil rights. The holidays, I'm not even concerned about that because we can celebrate that anyway. We don't need them to celebrate ourselves. But I'm most concerned about the Bill of Rights, civil rights, and the voting rights. They're trying to eliminate us. And they even talking about opening up Alcatraz, opening it back up. They're planning on imprisoning a lot of people. That's what dictators do, imprison their enemies. They're even talking about deporting citizens. And I figure you're gonna be a lot of us. Deporting the immigrants. That's just a smoke screen get you used to people being deported. That's a smoke screen. They're going to start deporting citizens. And with this, race may not even matter that much. Because they're doing a lot of stuff to white women now. They're eliminating white women. Because white women was benefiting from a lot of those programs that they eliminated more than anyone. So white women have been eliminated. Immigrants, their rights have been eliminated. I wouldn't say white women were eliminated. They're eliminating their rights. They're eliminating immigrants. They're eliminating black people's rights, where they already eliminated ours. And so people of color, well, I haven't heard any rights of theirs they eliminated, but they fell under the civil rights. So there's a lot of people that know that many people benefit from our efforts when it came to civil rights and the Bill of Rights. Many people benefit from that. I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to come back to you.
What's good, everybody? My name is Brandon Hunter, also known as OG Brando, and I am the founding formulator for the Origin of Greatness. In front of me, I have my products, the OG Hair Sheen, which is all-around great moisturizer, and then I have my hemp seed butter, which is all-around great moisturizer for the skin as well. If you have any questions about either of my products, please, you can find me at the Origin of Greatness on Instagram, the OG LLC on Facebook, and at our website at theog.net. And also be on the lookout for the OG in collab in connection with Tierra Speaks. You might just catch us, with some, we got a little collab going on. She got her thing with her self-care box, and so we got some things coming. But greatness is definitely on the way, onward and upward.
Yeah, keep the line going. We just started line. Here. Oh, okay.
Okay, you said you just saw the children leaving, going down the hallway after experiencing the blooming mind. What are they doing out there?
They are so excited. They're, look at my books, I've got books. I mean, you really think like somebody just won the Super Bowl or something. I mean, the fire in their eyes, and they know that they are just so moved by what you've done here, and you've created this spirit and fire and excitement for reading. So thank you.
Thank you, and we hope also that it sparks their care and love for the earth and the planet. Pledging to recycle is very, very important for the school, for the home, and for the planet. So thank you for letting us know.
Absolutely, and we have students that even last week, I had a student ask me to get some gloves and took a bag out on the playground and was picking up trash during their playtime.
That is wonderful. Thank you.
You are making a tremendous impact.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that.
Okay, I'm back. I was trying to look up whether to see if the teen had been found guilty and stabbed the black boy who stabbed the white boy to death. Many of you may know about that case. They got into an argument at a track meet, and they said the black boy, he was sitting there, and the white boy came to him and tried to make him get out, said he was under the wrong tent, but come to find out that there really wasn't any designated tent for any of them to sit up under. He just didn't want the black boy in there. And And the black boy told him don't put his hands on him again. And when he shoved the black boy again, the black boy went in his bag, got a knife, and stabbed him to death, which sounds like manslaughter to me. Murder would be if someone hadn't put you in any danger, and but he'd been over the top with the stabbing though. It sounds like manslaughter to me. But yet the big deal was that they were angry because money was raised, a few $100,000 for his defense. But I agree to it. I agree to doing that. As I said before, we need to help ours just like everyone else helped theirs. They can know theirs guilty and yet still help theirs and want to see them get away with it. They wouldn't admit that it was murder. Well, I wouldn't say murder. I think it was manslaughter. By the definition of, what am I doing? Let me tighten this up. I think it was manslaughter from what I've read or seen. Because I have to go, because all I can go by is the news articles that I've seen. Many people say, well, you don't know what, I don't need to know. I need to go, I'm going by what I've read and seen. And if there's more to know, I'll find out. That's all people can comment on, is what they've read. Comment on the article, be it on social media or the news, But I rarely try. I don't really base my opinion on what I read off social media, unless I've seen the news of it, read or seen news of it. Read it off the legitimate news sites, because on social media, have you seen those YouTube posts where every celebrity who's alive today is dead on YouTube? If you listen to it, but like I said, I really like to know. Not pretty soon, I'm going to have a call in line, so that if anyone can find those things out, they could call me and let me know. Right now, I don't have a call in line because I'm used to having to see. This is just the second show I did by myself. I'm used to having a panel with me, a guest, and we talk and go back and forth. And I'm not really used to just sitting down talking on my own and just talking, doing all the conversing myself. I'm used to having my panel, and I ask some questions. They talk a while, I talk a while, but I just have to get used to this. But I'm gonna have guests. I'm gonna have guests soon. But anytime my guests don't show up, I'm just not gonna stop doing the show because they don't show up like I used to. Because I can't build on this. And see, if you all notice, I have my Cash App up. Because I need to raise money so I can broaden. I can broaden this, and I can't do everything out of my pocket. I can broaden this and get my crew together but they can look things up for me like this. While I'm on the air, they can look it up. Or even if I have my panel here. Right now, you see I'm in my smaller studio. My big studio's over there. Well, that's where I go when I have guests. And I plan to have many on them soon. I wanted to have a guest on to do talk about community development. But we're gonna still do that. I just gave a few thoughts here tonight, but we're gonna still do that. And because I noticed a lot of time on social media, the people from here they talk about community development a lot. There was a time we used to have people come in who were private developers, and they were black people. They would promise, I got $750 million to use and spend and develop the area. Then turn around and start asking people for donations, taking donations from people. Now, if you got that money Why are you taking donations from people? Why would you take donations from them? Spend the money you got. And then it's been 3, 4 people came through here with that same scheme. That was someone I know. Who did that? It's Petty. Remember the guy Petty came in and did that. Left with people's money. Supposed to have so many hundreds of millions of dollars. Because if they had that kind of money, they wouldn't invest it here. Because people, if they have investors with them, they wouldn't allow it. No one invests that kind of money in a city where people are leaving. They don't do that. Not a sound businessman, not a sound one. A stupid one would. Gonna invest that. Now, if you got $750 million, they always talk about the riverfront. We got more stuff to build some stuff on than that riverfront that floods all the time. Not building nothing on that flood zone. Cut it out. It's the location. Look, you got riverfronts all up and down the Mississippi. You don't hear people cross from Memphis talking about location. Because you know why you can't build on that riverfront? Because of the levees. The river is too squeezed out. The Mississippi River, you know why they call 89th Street Bluff Road? That's where the river used to go to. They tell you right now, if the levees break, East St. Louis is going to flood all the way to 89th Street. Anytime, if it does happen, go to head towards Belleville. Because that's where the water is going to stop. The river in this area is so squeezed by levees, you can't build anything on that riverfront. But people keep telling you that so they can get your money. The Corps of Engineers will tell you that. You'll be foolish to try to build something on that riverfront. Levees had that river so squeezed that the Mississippi River should be about 8-9 feet deep. Sometimes it gets as high as 30 feet deep. They say you could walk across the river and still have your head above water. Unless you hit a mud spot and drown. But the thing is, you can't build where levees are at and got the river squeezed to capacity. You're gonna get somebody killed down there if any of those levees break, or if there's a flooding. Would you want to build where they said, well, you can lift it up, lift the ground up? You're not lifting that ground up. The Corps of Engineers is not gonna allow it. So you can keep letting them fool you into thinking that riverfront is going to be developed. It's not. Bring that money inward. We got a lot out here in the outlying areas to build on. Let's build things that's going to bring economic empowerment to this city. Right now, I'm talking about East St. Louis. I usually talk about black cities in general, but right now I'm talking about East St. Louis, the area that I'm in. We need to bring economics to the city and quit worrying about that riverfront, because you're going to be worried about that riverfront 100 years from now. Talking about what we're going to do to it. You're not going to do nothing to it. Just go down there and watch some fireworks. And that's the truth. Study it. You'll find out. Those levees got that river squeezed down there. You cannot build anything on that riverfront. And anyone who tells you that you can are lying to you or just don't know any better. You're not going to be allowed to do it. The Corps of Engineers is not going to allow it. Well, if Trump eliminate the Corps of Engineers, you may be able to do it, but you'll be sorry. So you have to really, you can't go off of emotion when you're trying to get things done. You have to go off of facts, and if you're going to do any kind of building or economic development, you have to really research those things, look into it, and know what you're doing. Because if you build on that riverfront, you're going to lose eventually. May survive a little while. You see, they had to move the Casino Queen off the river. The river kept flooding. Then the boat would rise up so high, and they eventually had to move it from off there and bring it inland. Now, if you want to build down by the river, inland, fine. But on the river, you're not building nothing down there. And like I said, anybody who tell you are, either they're lying or they just don't know any better. We have to be realistic in what we're going to do and know what we're talking about. We have to stop letting people fool us into thinking that we're going to have certain things here that we're not going to have. So a lot of those people bring those things here because they have grants to come in here. So they use East St. Louis to get grants or any impoverished black area. They come in to get grants. Now, I'm not going to say impoverished, but lower income. But they use to get grants. They got governmental grants, like they're going to come in here and do something. Because I know a lot of people who've done it, and they were only here to get their grant money. And you see, nothing came of it. They had all these different meetings. Amarin UE had a meeting. I don't think it was Amarin UE, it was another company. Talking about building electric car stations in East St. Louis. And it was down at New Life Community Church. I was there recording, and I usually don't speak at those things when I'm working. I usually don't like to talk. I usually like to record it. But I spoke that day, and I told them, no, that what you're saying, you need to stop fooling these people. You are not going to build any electric car stations in East St. Louis anytime soon. How many people in East St. Louis got electric cars? You don't come to a low-income area talking about building electric cars, because most of those people have gas cars. They don't have electric cars. Or they may have hybrids, but they don't have electric cars. You'll be wasting your time building electric car stations. They talked about building many here in East St. Louis. And I told them, you do not have the clientele here to be building a bunch of electric car stations. And now they have some electric cars. I know Ford has one. You can take the battery pack out in the house and charge it. They give you 2 packs. You got one at home charging, one in the car. Or you can just take both of them in and charge it, put it back in the car in the morning. I would rather have that, but I knew they weren't building electric car stations in East St. Louis. And many of the people in the meeting were a bit upset with me for saying so, but I don't have to play with people like that. And like I said, I had to speak out because I normally don't speak out when I'm at a place recording, no matter what I see going on. I really don't even like people asking me questions when I'm recording because I'd rather stay behind the camera when I'm working. But I had to speak out then because I knew they were lying to the people. And I told them, no, you're not going to build any electric car stations here, and you know it because you don't have the clientele here. Not anytime soon. And he didn't refute me. And that was about 2 years ago. I haven't seen them start doing anything. They had grants to come down here and talk. That's what people do. They get grants. Like they're going to come to do something in East St. Louis. They have grants to set up these meetings. and they do it just to get the grant money, then you don't hear from them anymore. There are people I know who have done that. Set up meetings to have these little meetings, and they're not going to do anything. Now the people who are going to do something can't even get the grants. I tried to get a green grant to help with green living back when Obama was in office. Couldn't get it. Then you have to be careful who write it for you. They'll try to steal it for themselves. But let's not let people keep fooling us, thinking they're going to come here and help us and do things for us, and they're not going to do a thing for us. We're going to have to do for ourselves. We need to try to get our people to come back. No, let me tell you, they're not coming back. I couldn't blame them. You know, people want to better their lives. But the only way you can get them to come back is if you build some things to make them want to come back. You just can't ask them to leave a better area to come back here. Something worse. We have new housing over there. Over by the Lansdowne area, over by the old Parsons Field. But those houses are higher income houses. I don't know if any has been filled yet, like 250,000. I think they were built by a private developer, which didn't make much sense to me. Some $150,000 houses would suffice better. Remember a few years ago, maybe about 20 years or so ago, the guy, Edwards, he came in and built a lot of houses. And the other developers came in and built new houses in this city. Many of those houses was bought before they even finished building them because they were of the income level where people can afford. There's not a lot of people living in this city that can afford $350,000 houses. And many people say, well, they're building it for other people. Well, let them. Put a gate around it, and if the other people want to come live in it, let them do it. We got to do something. We got to start letting some other people in. Because all of ours is leaving out. And if they take it over, they just take it over, you know. Got to do something. We're bleeding people like we got to, like the city got a cut and bleeding. High school graduating class is getting smaller and smaller. I remember when you used to stretch all the way to one end of the football field to the other. Now they barely make it to the 30-yard line. If they make it there this year. But we have to start attracting other people to come back, and it's not going to take you building senior apartments. You're going to have to build something for people with children, for families. We're not building family houses, affordable family houses. I'm not talking about no projects and low-income apartments. I'm talking about for working class people with families. Those are the type of housing that's needed in an area, in most black areas. Not just East St. Louis, because I'm mentioning East St. Louis, but I'm actually speaking of any black town like Gary, Indiana. Excuse me. We have to do that. We have to build something that people will want to come to, and not just. But when we build those homes, we have to also build some business space around them, some space for businesses. See, if you want to get up in the morning, you don't want to make coffee, you want to go buy a cup of coffee, sit down and drink. The only place you can go is McDonald's or go to one of those service stations and buy a cup and leave. Because let's face it, our people, we basically like going to franchise places. So we have to, we can attract franchises. If most of our people are leaving, they're not going to come. We're the Popeyes. Uh, they were owned by a black man. We had three of them. One in Washington Park. What was the other one down on St. Louis Avenue? What was the other one at? Get where the other one was at. But we would need more franchises because that's why people like, but franchises aren't going to come here. We could use a good 7-Eleven, but they're not going to come here because they know. See, a lot of times people know that our people going to go elsewhere and shop. They know that. That's why Walmart don't normally build in black areas. They know we're going to come to the other areas and shop. So why should they? I told the people the one in Cahokia was going to close because Walmart's not going to keep that store. Now that Cahokia is mostly a black town now. But I think they're doing a pretty good job in Cahokia, though. McCall, he's doing a good job out there. They're building a new high school. I think they're doing a good job out there. And we have to, but they still have something to work with. They still have their franchises and businesses out there. Some of them are closed, but they still have a tax base out there. We have to try to do something. But if not, we may as well forget it. Our history gonna be against us. History is gonna be against us. That these black cities never get revitalized and continue to decay. And with what we got in office now, everything's going against us. We don't have any help coming. We don't have it. We're gonna have to help ourselves. That's what's gonna have to happen. And it may be good that we stop depending on other people and start helping ourselves. Quit depending on government grants and funding all the time and depend on private investments. I know it's going to be hard because they usually don't do this in black areas, but we'll get together some investors. Quit waiting for other people to come in and do it. Has anyone here set up an investment group and someone who you know is not going to run off with the money? That's what many other people do. They set up investment groups. And they invest in their area. So next time I'm gonna wait till I get this bug out my throat before I do another show. Hopefully that'll be tomorrow. I got some things I'm researching that I want to talk about tomorrow. And it's gonna be pretty interesting. I want to find out what's going on. I know this team, this team that was stabbed for the death. I thought I saw something come up about the verdict that came in, but I don't see it here. I really want to see what happened because they're gonna convicted of. Let me see. I really want to know how that went because oh no, they just say jury selection has begun. Yeah, jury selection began. That what came up. Your jury selection began. You notice how they highlighted the victim, said what a good boy he was, but when ours get killed, they demonize him, try to find every little bad thing they can about him. Then we try to say stuff to make them seem like they didn't deserve it. Well, who does? Who does deserve it? But we don't have to keep trying to legitimize our humanity. When he was a nice guy, you ain't got to tell them nothing. They could have been the biggest a-hole in town. What business you got killing them? It's called, like when the police kill someone. Oh, he was a good guy. He don't have to be a good guy. Either the killing was justified or not. You don't have to be a good boy. It all depends on that situation. Not if he was a. You don't have to be a good person all through life. Who is? Who do you know who are always good? Everyone has some good in them and some bad in them. So anyone keep telling you like a person was all good, they're lying. Or they just didn't see a surge inside of them. So we don't have to keep justifying, trying to say, oh, how good the person was, making them sound bigger than life, trying to justify them not being harmed and killed. You don't have to justify anything. Leave those folks alone. You go by that situation that led to the killing, not by everything else that they did in life. Because you stole some last year, you deserve to get killed. Because you and the person was in an argument. I don't agree with someone, the boy stabbing the other boy, but I let a jury decide that. I have my thoughts, so it seemed like manslaughter to me. But we have to let the jury decide and let the law take its course, like they always tell us. But when it comes to us, the law don't supposed to take its course. So let's see what happened in this case. I know I kind of rambled on about a lot of things, but I have to get used to doing the show by myself because, like I said, I'm used to having a panel, and I'm going to start back having them. But I'm going to start back having them. That's why I need people to hit my cash up. I may have to put out a little money. And see, we always want things, but we don't want to help support it. So, that's why a lot of times things falter. But I can keep it going, but I can do it better if I had some support. So send something to my cash app as you can, and it's not so I can buy me a new car, but so I can help support this and get better and bring other guests in. I plan on having some really high-level guests in that I've been talking to. But, can't do it with nothing. I plan on letting some other people have a show. But we can't do that with nothing because we're going to have a crew. And that crew is not going to want to work for free. That's what the cash app is for. I don't want to have to get investors to come in and then we have to change the whole format. And then have to do like the mainstream media and now scared to report certain things. So I think I'm going to call it a night. I've rambled on long enough. So stay tuned for the next show, and I'm going to try to get someone to come on with me so I don't have to just keep sitting here talking. Okay? I hope I didn't do too bad and worry too much and talk too crazy, but if I did, I meant to do it anyway. So I'll see you next time. But I want to play this commercial again on Blooming Minds Book Fair, and then I'm going to sign out. Okay? So I'm going to sign out now and just play the commercial. So I'll see you next time, okay? Good night. And remember to tune in again for No More Water. Fire. Next time, I'm Larry Duncan-Allen, your host. Most people just know me as Duncan. So, good night.
Y'all don't
you.
Yeah, keep the line going. We just started the line. Here, go, go, go.
Okay, you said you just saw the children leaving, going down the hallway after experiencing the blooming mind. What are they doing out there?
They are so excited. They're, look at my books, look at my books, I've got books, I've got books. I mean, you really think like somebody just won the Super Bowl or something. I mean, the fire in their eyes, and they know that they are just so moved by what you've done here, and you've created this spirit and fire and excitement for reading. So thank you.
Thank you, and we hope also that it sparks their care and love for the earth and the planet. Pledging to recycle is very, very important for the school, for the home, and for the planet. So thank you for letting us know.
Absolutely, and we have students that even last week, I had a student ask me to get some gloves and took a bag out on the playground and was picking up trash during their playtime.
That is wonderful. Thank you.
You are making a tremendous impact.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that.